We're talking to another artist coming up for the Love of Art Fair. And Anita, is this your first time participating in this art fair?
Absolutely.
It is. Okay, so what have you heard about it? Because this is what I've been to for a number of years. I love this art fair. I'm very excited that you're going to be part of it.
Oh, thank you. I met Shireen and her daughter in Kensington Park at an art fair in Kensington Park, and she asked me if I would join for the Love of Art.
Yeah.
And I sometimes live in East Lansing, but we've been down here for about a year. And so she didn't realize that I was in South Bend.
Yeah.
And so that really helped promote the interest in that. And what I've heard is that there are large, spectacular paintings that are very novel and really help display the artist creativity and self-bend.
Absolutely. You're going to love the art fair. I just have to tell you that.
I bet, I know. A lot of times we don't have time to look at all the art.
Well, I hope you do find time to do that too. Let's talk a little bit about your art. I've looked at some of your pieces, and they're very wide range as far as style, as far as the different kinds of media that you're using. What would you say is generally your sweet spot?
I really enjoy painting people or the human form, and not necessarily a recognizable human form, but just to give the mood of an area. And because, we're in Michiana, the beach,
course,
boats,
yes.
Absolutely. That's my happy place, besides my studio.
I'm glad you can
actually.
do forms because I'm still very much stick figure.
Oh,
that
there
that
you
is
go.
the extent of my art
Well,
capability.
I don't do interviews, so
There you
You're
go.
great.
We're meeting in the
Yeah.
middle today. How did you get started on drawing and art?
well, there's a longer story.
TV friendly.
All right.
Sorry.
When I was little, I used to, join, there were art competitions in the newspaper. And so I would join those as a 10-year-old and thought, oh my gosh, whatever. My dad said, don't ever go into art. You can't do that. So I went into physical or occupational therapy, and there was an artist who drew the anatomical drawings, and his name was F. Netter. And I'd study him. He was beautiful. Led me into studying Michelangelo, beautiful form. And so when my kids were little and they would sit still long enough, then I would draw their form. And then I'd add watercolor because it was quick to dry and they would be safe if I painted. And then I grew into oils.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's
I love the story behind it. And I know Michelangelo, that kind of component, that really made an impact in your art too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He was able to study the anatomical figure in autopsies that he did that were legal. Or illegal, I'm sorry. So he would do autopsy studies at the Santo Spirito Church in southern Florence. And he would have a day to study the anatomical form. And he could study men, but not women. And so there's a lot of masculine tendencies toward his human form. And yeah, he got the insertion, the origin of all those muscles exact. And so it's fun.
I had no idea that was the background of that story. Okay, so you're incorporating some of that into your artwork too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this piece that you're working on right now. Is this one that's going to be up for the Love of Art Fair?
It will not.
It will not. Okay, so let's
I
talk
don't
about
think
this,
it'll
though.
dry fast enough. I was doing a series called Community, and it's the idea of the human form, but without recognizing exactly who it is.
Okay.
And so these are two people that were communicating at the MoMA in October, and she was consoling her. I don't know if you can see her hand is covering her eyes, and her hand is like rubbing her face. But the lighting was beautiful. The ottoman is like the anchor for the whole thing. So just so you know, the ottoman isn't done. She's not done. But I like this part of the form, the background. I don't usually do first, but I wanted to make sure the colors were homogeneous.
Okay.
So that's why I did.
And talk to us about the process, because I know every artist is kind of different. Sometimes you paint the background, sometimes you're thinking of idea, you're doing your outlines. Talk to us about what your process looks like, and is it different at times?
It is different.
Okay.
Yes. So sometimes I always do an underpainting on the canvas.
Okay.
And I do that so that you don't need to have super tight lines. So you'll always see this burnt sienna underneath it, and it also brings that whole painting together. Then I'll draw the image that I want. Sometimes I do just block it in with paint. And then you always work, like your focal point going to be super tight. Contrast is going to be really hard. And then it kind of blurs almost as you go out. So you have a strong found line, which will be here. And then these are kind of lost lines. Like you don't know. This is a lost line.
It's an irrelevant line.
Yeah. As well as this. Like you don't need to know where that line
And the
goes.
beauty of art is that it's always changing and it's always unique. And I know you were showing me some of your paintings before we got started too. That you're still kind of, put it on the wall, see how it feels. And is it missing something or does it need something else?
Right. Yeah. If I finally move through the whole thing and it's perfect, then great. If I get stuck because something isn't very interesting, or I lose the main image, or I don't find that line that I was hoping for, then I'll go back. And I might go back, hopefully, only for a few months, but sometimes I'll shelf it and then come back
to it,
later.
Yeah, and especially with oil painting, there's a modification process even to kind of readjust.
Yes,
too.
yeah. You can file off the old, you can paint over the old if it's smooth enough. Just repaint back.
Interesting. Is there anything else you want to share with us about your art?
No, I'm glad to see you at the For the Love of Art, and I hope a lot of people.
And I was telling Shireen too, we have so many pieces of art from there. I don't know if we have any room left on our walls, but we love to come to the art fair. My husband and I both. So I hope everyone out there, I hope you'll join us for the Love of Art Fair and get to see your work for the first time.
Thank you. Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Anita.
Thanks.